Hi, this is continuation for power electronics lectures, and in the previous lectures we have talking about power diodes and also the types of power diodes. And today we are going to cover diodes in series and parallel. So the diode in series, why we want to connect diodes in series. The diodes sometimes we want to apply some voltage across them in the reverse bias, but that voltage is higher than the capability of the diode. So sometimes we combine two diodes in series to be able to block that higher voltage. So the diodes are connected in series to increase the reverse blocking capability, and this is one of the examples. If this one is pushing current in the forward bias like this, okay, so both will drop some voltage across themselves and there is no problem, and they will carry the same current. However, if that source polarity reverse, okay, so the blocking voltage, that voltage should be blocked by these diodes, okay, and during blocking we have some leakage current will go through these diodes, and I think because they are in series they will carry the same reverse leakage current, okay. But the problem is, even if they are exactly the same diodes and from the same manufacturer, they still differ due to tolerances in their production process, and these differences leads to uneven voltage sharing of the reverse voltage. And we should expect that even if they are in series and from the same manufacturer, they will carry the same current. That means the reverse current here will go through both of them. And if there are some small differences between them, so the reverse bias curve here is different a little bit, so each one will get different voltage across its terminals, okay. For example, if I have 1000 volt here, okay, and that 1000 volt is in the reverse polarity, that means they are now in the reverse bias, we are expecting each one to have 500, okay. This is the expectation in ideal scenario, and that's why I have it chosen, for example, a diode which is maximum rating 550, okay, 550 volt. This is how I designed my circuit, for example. But because they are still different and different voltages across them have been applied, so the final result is 600 for one and 400 for the other one. Yes, they are in total 1000, but the problem is one has got 600, which is higher than its maximum rating, and that will put us in a problem. To solve this problem, they have a solution using parallel resistors or sharing resistors like this, okay, or they are called balancing resistors. So the first resistor is across the first diode, second resistor is across the second diode, okay, and these resistors, they make sure that the current, the reverse current or leakage current, is not the same in both diodes, okay. So we have leakage current for the first one and leakage current for the second just to guarantee that the voltages across both diodes the same, or if we are not heading to the same voltage, at least they are very close to each other, and not like the previous scenario. We have 400 and 600, 200 volt difference between them, okay. So if we want to just to apply Ohm's law and know what's how I designed the R1 and R2, I know the reverse recovery current here will go through that diode and that resistor, and then will be combined here again, and then will go through that diode and that resistor. So now the IS here is the same as IS1 plus IR1, IS1 and IR1, okay, and is also equals IS2 plus IR2, okay. So this equation is very basic, and then I know that IR is the voltage drop across the diode, which is the same as across the resistor R1, divided by the current, or divided by the value of the resistance, okay. So IR1 equals VD1 divided by R1, IR2 equals VD2 divided by R2. Now I can take these values and compensate them in these equations, okay. And if I'm looking for voltage across the first diode equals to the voltage across the second diode, I will come up with this equation. IS1 plus VD1 divided by R1 equals IS2 plus VD1, because VD1 equals VD2. Okay, that's why I replaced it with VD1, okay, divided by R2. IS1 and IS2 is known from datasheet. VD1, which is VT2 as well, they are known or designed by you as a designer. You should decide, okay, I want 500 there and 500 there, okay? And later on, you will design or you will select R1 and R2 to satisfy the equality here or the equation. This is one scenario. The second scenario is I don't want VD1 to equal VD2 exactly. No, I can accept small differences. For example, 10% differences. If this one is 500, the other one is 450, and this one is 550, okay? So we can accept 10% differences. That's another scenario that can be also applied, and it's usual to be applied. Why? Because sometimes if you use this equation, you will come up with R1 and R2. They are very close to each other, and you can't actually find these values in the market, okay? So this is one of the constraints. So that's why we can select R's to be equal and accept small differences between VD1 and VT2. And how we do that? We can assume R1 equals R2 equals R, and by the same equation, we can come up with this equation. So the difference between voltage across the diode number 1 and diode number 2, this is the difference between the diodes, maybe 50 volt difference, 100 volt difference, tens of volt difference, okay? We can accept that, we can design that and select that. Not the first one. First scenario was 200 volts difference, which is very high, okay? We can select that IR by knowing also the IS1 and IS2 from datasheet, okay? So this is the equation, and we can really write it like that. So the difference in voltage between diode number 1 and 2, this is delta V, equals R multiplied by the difference in current, because here the current IS1 and IS2, they are different from each other. So we have to just imagine or make a case of how different they are. Maybe the worst case scenario is when IS1 is 0, this is the worst case scenario. IS1 is 0 and IS2 is maximum, okay? So this is the worst case scenario. Let's have an example just to make it clear for you. We have two diodes in series are expected to experience a maximum combined reverse voltage of 1000. So we have a supply of 1000, okay? We have two diodes. Because they are different, they will not share even voltage across their terminals. So that's why I use balancing resistors. The available diodes have 600 volt as maximum. If I leave it without resistors, it might come up with 600 volt there, 400 volt there, and this will break the first diode, okay? So maximum leakage current, which is IS, is 4 milliamp, okay? This is the maximum leakage current for both. Now calculate the balancing resistor to ensure a maximum of 10% difference. So we don't want now 500 there and 500 there. No, we want close to 500 here and close to 500 there. The word close means 10% difference across the diodes. Okay, let's now go to the scenario. We have 1000 here. I can accept 500 there, but with a difference of 10%. That means 500 plus 10%, it equals 550. If this is 550, this will be 450. And this is the maximum or worst case scenario. If they have maximum 10% difference, they can have 6 or 7 practically, but maximum I will design it for the worst case scenario of 10% difference. So this one is designed to have 550 maximum, and this one is designed to have 450 maximum. We can actually calculate these by another way, okay? Then another way is, okay, it allows for us 10% difference. That means, okay, what is the 10% of the 1000 is 100 volt. So I need to choose two numbers between diode number 1 and 2, which has difference between them 100 volt. This is the other meaning. So I think 550 and 450 has difference of 10%, which is 100 volt. Okay, so these are the values that we will select for our design: 550 and 450. The difference between them is 100 volt. Now let's recall the equation from the previous slide. The difference between diode 1 and diode 2, which is 100 volt now, okay, which is the same if we just subtract this from that, equals the resistor value times the difference in reverse or leakage current. Okay, but how I know the leakage current or the difference at these voltages? I might go to the data sheet and know, or I can assume the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is one diode is carrying all the leakage current and the other one is not carrying anything. All the leakage current goes to the resistor. This is the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario, the difference between the first diode and second diode is the maximum leakage current. Okay, so delta IS is the 4 milliamp. I don't want to say 2 milliamp or 3 milliamp. Let's consider as 4 milliamp. Okay, so by taking these numbers into equation, I think you will get a result of 100 volt divided by 4 milliamp, and it will be 25 kilo ohm. This is the minimum value for a safe operation, and this is the minimum value to guarantee that this will not exceed 550, and this will not be also above 550, because each one is designed by the same way. Okay, if you choose in maybe 50 kilo ohm, it will be good as well, and it will be less losses, because now the losses across this resistor is 550 volt square divided by R. V square divided by R. This is the power losses. Okay, so by increasing R, you will decrease also the losses. So it's up to you as a designer. Now let's go to the parallel situation. Why we want to connect diodes in parallel? Diodes are connected in parallel to increase the current carrying capability to meet the desired current requirement. If I have a load and that load is, for example, 100 amp, I can use two diodes in parallel, 50 amp as maximum. Okay, so when diodes of the same type are connected in parallel, they don't share actually the same on-state current due to mismatches like this. So we have that diode and that diode. Okay, the voltage across the diode, the first diode, is the same as the second diode, but because of the mismatches, okay, that voltage now, if we draw the curves for each of them, the practical one, we might see the first one carrying that current, the second one is carrying a different current, and we are assuming there is a third one as well here. Okay, so the same forward voltage now, because it's the same across all the diodes, actually that produce for us different currents carry for each diode, and that makes one of them heats up more than the other. And if it heats up, that means it might go for runaway and for damaging, and if it's damaged, all the current will go through the first one, and also it will be damaged because from the beginning it can't handle that current alone. So what's the solution? Is again we're using resistors, but that resistor is in series with the diode number 1 and diode number 2. Okay, and you have to calculate the current going through that resistor and that resistor by assuming very minimum voltage across these. Okay, so you can say that voltage, okay, is the same as the voltage across that one and that one, and you can calculate the I maximum that can go through that branch and decide the values of R. I will not go through the calculation of this one because it's very sometimes they have precautions about using this process in high current. Okay, but be aware that this approach as well, the current goes through the diode and also goes through the resistor, and the resistor will dissipate also heat I square RMS R, and this is also something sometimes bring concerns for designers if they want to use this approach. So now this brings me to the end of this lecture. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the information in it. Thank you.